Hello and welcome to this week's Out of Cast, your program completely in English, as it is pretty obvious to improve your knowledge about cinema. Today, I am your only host, Helga the Bluehead, as Julio and Eleonora couldn't make to come here today because of the strike of the trains and stuff. So you'll be stuck with my voice. I'm a bit sick again. I know it's not the first time that I'm sick, and I'll be coughing a lot. Yeah, I'm that sick so badly. So anyways, following the last week that we talked about non-DC and Marvel comic book movies, we will continue our discussion on such movies. But before that, don't forget to follow us on our socials, which are Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All you can search Roma Tre Radio. But in Instagram, you gotta search it as the number. Don't forget that you can also listen live on the app TuneIn. Just go search Roma Tre Radio again with the 3 as the number. Don't forget about that. And also don't forget about the podcast. If you missed our live show, you can listen to our podcast on SoundCloud and also on our website. So stay tuned in and we'll be back to you very soon. Now let's talk about a cult yet a bit underrated comic book movie, which is The Crow, that came out in 1994. Now it's one of the best comic book movies ever created. Now, and I am not exaggerating, it is really good. But you have to consider that it came in the 90s. So it's a movie that's worth watching, not just once but many times. The film is based on James O'Barr's comic book of the same name. This plot is simple. Eric Draven, played by Brandon Lee, rest in peace, he's Bruce Lee's son, a rock musician that is revived to avenge his own death, as well as the rape and murder of his fiancée. Now, the movie is directed by Alex Proyas. Brandon Lee is fantastic as the Crow and keeps you glued to the screen with every move and word he says. Unfortunately, Lee was accidentally wounded on the set during filming by defective blank ammunition and later died in the hospital during surgery. With only 8 days left of production, unfinished scenes that were to feature him were dealt with using a rewritten format in the script. A stunt double, fun fact of the day, the stunt double was Chad Stahelski, director of John Wick franchise, and digital special effect. Now the film is dedicated to both Lee and his fiancée Eliza. Now, despite the several production setbacks due to Lee's death, The Crow was well received critically for its unique visual style, premise, emotional depth, and its tribute to the deceased actor. The film opened at the top box office and attained a strong cult following. And now, yes, with the standards of today, for some, the effects are a bit, stupid and hammy and edgy, gory of 90s action comic book movie style. But with all these in mind, you have to know that it still is a good movie. It's well acted, it's dark, thrilling, sad, and deserving of more attention for sure. And it's also got 82% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is quite good. Now let's talk about a noir type of comic book movie. I want to talk about Dick Tracy, coming out in 1990. Now, it is directed by and starring Warren Beatty. It is based on the 1930s American comic book by the same name. It is a noir focusing on the detective Dick Tracy's conflict with gangsters, in particular with the crime boss Alphonse Big Boy Capricci, played by Al Pacino, and his romantic relationships with Breathless Mahoney, played by Madonna, and Tess Trueheart. What a choice of names! Played by Glenn Headley. Now, the director of photography, Vittorio Storaro, made the movie look like a cartoon using only primary colors and in one tone, much like the original comic book. The soundtrack is composed by Danny Elfman and Stephen Sondheim. Danny Elfman is a quite good composer for such movies. Also, the songs Sooner or Later, More, and What Can You Lose is composed by Stephen Sondheim, which Madonna sings in the movie. At 1991's Academy Award, Dick Tracy won Best Cinematography, Makeup, and Best Song with Sooner or Later. Although on Rotten Tomatoes, it's on the edge of being rotten. It has 63% of positive reviews. The consensus reads, Dick Tracy is stylish, unique, and undeniable technical triumph, but it ultimately struggles to rise above its two-dimensional artificially. Oh my god, these critics, like seriously. First came Judge Dredd in 1995. Sylvester Stallone portrays the titular role as Joseph Dredd, a judge who had been framed for murder by his own half-brother, the psychotic Rico. The movie's story is obviously take place in dystopian future when the world has turned into a cursed wasteland. The movie unfortunately was received poorly, being criticized for the lack of script originality and faith to its source material, along with Stallone's excessive acting. I mean, we all know the acting ability of Sylvester Stallone. With no disrespect, but he has a range that he can do a certain type of character always. Anyways, moving on. The movie was considered to be one of Stallone's worst films, but received praise for its visual style, effects, stunts, and action sequences, having been nominated for Saturn Awards actually. But you gotta know, it's only got 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. However, in 2012, the movie got a reboot called just Dredd, and Carl Urban took over the titular role. As you may recall, Carl Urban is really a good actor. I mean, if you watch him in the series The Boys, he's like really good. It's also good to know that these movies are based on the 2000 AD comic strip Judge Dredd and its eponymous character created by John Wagner and Carlos Ezquerra. Now, this latter one did very much better with the critics. It has got 79% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is quite good. It should do better, but anyways, unfortunately, it failed at the box office due to its 30 to 45 million budget, and one of its reasons being that the extensive use of 3D cameras throughout the whole shooting. It only gained 41.5 million at the worldwide box office, which is really unfortunate and really, saddening. It is a good movie. Let's talk about a very, very good movie, Snowpiercer, that came in 2013. Now, it is directed by Bong Joon-ho, which he has right now Parasite in theaters. That's directed by him as well. I mean, he does really good movies. Anyways, it's based on French graphic novel Le Transpersonnage. I don't know. I can't speak French. Je ne parle France. Anyways, in a dystopic 2031 in which the Earth is living in new ice age, the only human survivors live on a train. It is called the Snowpiercer that keeps on moving across the globe. Now, on board, the society is separated in various classes. The poor people on the last wagon, living exploited and not considered, while the richest live on the top with all their privileges. The movie reprises a metropolis-like social structure, with the poor living on behalf of the rich, until of course it breaks into a fight for surviving, with the poor rising up to the engine. The cast presents many international faces because it was the will of the director, making a Noah's Ark kind of story featuring humanity and not slogan commercials screaming "We are international." With a budget of only $38 million, it sorta is considered an independent movie, and at the same time the most expensive Korean movie ever. It earned a total of $86.7 million worldwide and received universal acclaim. It has 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is really good. But it's interesting that how much these social classes are presented in recent movies. Right now, we're talking about Snowpiercer. A month ago, Joker was out, and now Parasite also talks about the same matter. And I mean, there's a clue there, people. I hope that you get that clue. Let's talk about a beautiful movie slash animation, which is called Persepolis, came in 2007. Now, even if Persepolis is based on Marjane Satrapi's own experiences growing up in Iran during the Islamic Revolution, then in Austria and France, Persepolis remains and it will always be a work of storytelling. Now, Satrapi herself proclaimed that once you have a story, you must go on with the storytelling, therefore leaving any expectation of a biography. The original graphic novel has been written several years after her last return to Iran. As she said in an interview, "I needed to be able to write without letting my anger take the worst out of me," which is a really good point because there are not so many people that would do that. And most of all, Satrapi never wanted to see a Persepolis movie, so yeah, that's why she made it by herself, especially with a crew of close friends like producer Vincent Parnot, in order to make not an adaptation of her work but a transposition of it. Now, Persepolis, it's honestly one of the best comic book movies ever made, and I'm not even exaggerating, because it feels so personal to me, and since I am an Iranian person too, but it represents many people, many individuals, and says something that maybe we cannot say. This is the magic of moving picture. It can tell you things that you cannot say with words. Now, look, this movie, it has 92 to 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. It became a box office hit. It gained $22 million worldwide on the budget of only $7 million. It won lots of prizes. It was nominated for at the Oscars for Best Animation Feature, also Golden Globe, several Annie Awards, and the jury prize at the Cannes Film Festival. Now, Persepolis, just like the comic, is everything but a specific political message. It's a story intended for the whole humanity to fight authority that tries to erase the individual. Now, the animation is fresh, delightfully simple, yet effective by the use of black and white. The portrays better than ever a universal story for everyone. It is just more than beautiful. You gotta watch this thing, people. It's just so mesmerizing. Let's talk about a revolutionary movie, something very different, and something that when it came out, it caused an uproar. I'm gonna talk about V for Vendetta that came in 2005. Now, as I said, it's a revolutionary movie and based on a revolutionary comic from 1988, DC Vertigo Comics. It was limited series of the same name by Alan Moore and David Lloyd. Now, the movie is directed by James McTeague and written by the Wachowskis. It's also got namely talented people in front of the camera. Natalie Portman as Evie, Hugo Weaving as V, John Hurt, rest in peace, as High Chancellor Adam Sutler, Stephen Fry and as Gordon Dietrich, Rupert Graves, Stephen Ray also appear as detective inspectors, and many other name actors. Now, the plot is simple. A supremacist and neo-fascist totalitarian regime is ruling the United Kingdom. V, an anarchist and masked freedom fighter, attempts to ignite a revolution through elaborate terrorism acts, and Evie, a young working-class woman, is caught up in V's mission. Now, you gotta be familiar with the phrase, remember the 5th of November. Yeah, this is, you gotta remember, because this is the main theme of the movie as well, and it's, it's a thing. It's really a thing. also in England, it's a huge thing. Now, although being based on a comic book, the movie is highly stylized picture as a whole with a greater picture and purpose to serve. The cinematography and editing definitely lifts and hypes the energy of the movie and also helps the deeper meaning of the movie being more symbolic and metaphoric. The movie was highly criticized for glamorizing terrorism at the time, but years later, as of right now, for example, it is remembered as one of the best revolutionary political thrillers ever. After years, the movie still feels fresh considering with all the revolutions and struggles that are happening nowadays. If you follow the news, you definitely know what I'm talking about. The main character V, although using mask almost throughout the whole movie, you instantly fall in love with him because of his voice, his manners, his ideology, and at some point you just realize it's impossible not to love this character. And at the end of the movie, you feel as a hero, you feel that I gotta do something for my society. And I mean, this movie has a huge impact on you when you finish watching it. Now, the movie has got 72% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think personally it's really unfair, but audience appreciated more. They give it 90%. Okay, so we are at that point, which is our favorite talk of the day, which is trash talk of the week. I hope you enjoy it because it's a fun talk, and this week's trash talk of the week is gonna be Dylan Dog Dead of Night that came in 2011. Now, it's a story about an investigator of the dead that has been retired for some time now, but a whole new supernatural case forces him to go back in action, just like in the most cliched movie ever. Now, Mr. Dog investigates a case for a client to find the killer of her father and her best friend. What a coincidence, right? Now, the movie should, and I really should, be based on the comic book character by Bonelli Editore. But let's just say that it is rather not. Now, for several American copyright issues with Disney, and I'm not even joking, there have been lots of changes, let's say, from characters, props, setting, and so on. Now, our all-new brand Dylan Dog is set in New Orleans instead of London for some reason. And there's nothing better than giving to the audience some spooky fake voodoo vibe filled with titan zombies, dino vampires, sexy Americans being Americans, and Adam Sandler jokes. I'll stop rating, I promise. Now, what do we got here? A movie that has been deleted from existence by Bonelli Editore itself. Fans have been throwing out of the window all their hopes and dreams to see a new Dylan Dog movie, only to get a supernatural fan fiction. But you may ask, is this movie even canon at all? I mean, well, Bonelli refused to let any info release into public, not even mentioning only any detail about it, and they still do. Some people have been speculating that Bonelli CEOs felt sorry to have been giving their properties copyright to some random Americans to make movies and this, but I would suggest you to watch it, but the thing is, you'll forget about it in 5 minutes. Unless you watch it while you're drunk or on drugs. I don't know. No, I'm not encouraging you to drink or use drugs. None of this. Anyways, I should also put it here that this might be one of the worst movies that we've talked about on Out of Cast based on its Rotten Tomatoes score, because it has only, you guessed it, 7%. Unfortunately, we got to the end of this week's Out of Cast, but before saying goodbye to you, let's put 2 honorable mentions that didn't quite make it to our lists, but doesn't mean that they're not good. They're actually quite good movies, and you gotta watch them. first honorable mention, and you'll be amazed to hear this, Kingsman: The Secret Service came out in 2014, is also based on a comic book. And the second honorable mention will be The Mask. Yes, that original one with Jim Carrey that came in 1994, that is also based on a comic book movie. So here you go, not also fun fact, but also two very good movies. So before again saying goodbye, don't forget to follow us on all of our socials. We are all over the place: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search Roma Tre Radio, but on Instagram you gotta search it with 3 as the number. You can also listen to us on our streaming website, which is probably you are now listening to us. Also, you can use the app TuneIn. Just search Roma Tre Radio as 3 as a number. And thanks to all our writers, Eleonora, Julio, Said, and myself even. And I've been Helga the Boohead. Also, I was forgetting about one of the most important crew, our director Francesco and the assistant director Lorenzo. He's been assisting somehow in his sort of way. Thank you all, you our listeners, for tuning in, and we'll see you on the flip side.